Hey everybody! Today I would like to showcase a new Gloo mesh feature, which is access logging. And as a quick recap, an access log is an event log that offers debugging information to a high level of granularity. So they are emitted every time there's a request or a response happening in the system. And in our case, we are leveraging Envoy's access logs. So cool, let's get started. The first thing we need to do is create an access log record CRD. This is what the API looks like. And it's basically a directive that instructs Gloo Mesh to enable the collection of access logs from a particular set of workloads and optionally a set of filters that can be used to determine some criteria for which requests and responses to actually emit access logs for. This is mainly used as a way to cut down the overall volume of emitted access logs. So here we have an access log record that says to collect access logs for all workloads in the management cluster and only those requests that contain the header foo bar. So we'll go ahead and create this. And this under the hood gets translated to an Envoy filter. We should see that here. We see that right here. So the next step, under the hood, the access logs get collected by the enterprise networking gRPC server, which also exposes a REST interface for the user to retrieve access logs. Let's take a look at that now. So this is the access log retrieval endpoint. And we're saying fetch the access logs and set watch to 1, which means that the access logs will be streamed as they are received. Let's split this terminal window out. So here we're going to execute a request. And we see that the access logs flow to the user. And in this case, there are 2 of them. This is one for the rating service and one for the product page service, the 2 nodes that are involved in this request. Let's see how the access logs can be used to, how they might be useful for debugging. So just to create an artificial scenario, we're going to break the TLS between the product page and the rating service. So we're going to create this destination rule that specifies the certificates that don't actually exist. Okay. So, and let's format these logs a little bit. It's easier to read. Now we try to send the same request. There is a TLS error. And we see that come across here in the access logs. There is only one access log now because the request never made it to the rating service. And Envoy provides a high level of granularity for the information. So here we see that there is a TLS error because the secret is not being supplied by STS, most likely because it doesn't exist. So, yeah. Just a few more remarks. So the way that this is set up right now, it requires some setup steps. So if we look at the Envoy config dump, this is the Envoy config dump for the product page sidecar. Just some things of note. You have to configure this Envoy access log service entry with the address of the access log sink. And currently our enterprise networking gRPC server is acting as the sink. So if, with respect to the remote clusters, there's some additional setup that needs to happen on the management cluster side. We have to configure ingress traffic whose host is targeting enterprise networking. We have to create a gateway and a virtual service to make sure that that traffic is routed to this pod. Currently that's a manual step, but the hope is that as we improve our Istio install and upgrade story, we can own this for the user and automate a lot of the manual work that they would have to do to enable this access log service right now. So yeah, that's it. Thanks.